I'm waiting. I'm waiting.
There we go.
Uh, I was just waiting for that beautiful, sweet voice, computer voice to tell me we are ready to start yet another episode, Sports Dolls, episode numero 10. And for those non-Spanish speakers, that is episode 10. Gotcha.
Boy, I tell you,
I almost had a panic attack when that popped up. I almost hit the leave meeting button instead of dial.
What's happening? I'm being
Oh
recorded.
no!
I'm out. I'm out. But we are back. And I was gonna say, Dad, I got a title for this episode already because
okay, good.
It's muddy water episode, that's for sure. Because due to our lovely guests, I decided to join you up. We all got some muddy water there. So yep, there's the title of the episode. But without further ado, Dad, introduce our wonderful guest.
Our guest picker comes all the way, and this is part of his creation that is fabulous. Hung out with him in the garage, talking science, and this is going to be interesting because there are the two people that I know that are most competitive are on my screen in front of me. But our guest picker comes from Cannon Falls, Jeremy Schroeder. Welcome to Sport Dolls.
Woo!
It's a pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me on to such a prestigious podcast. Man, it's an honor.
Yeah, that's it is getting to that prestigious mark. We have topped pretty consistently 30 plus views per week on YouTube, and I'm not even hitting Spotify listeners. So, wow.
I mean, I can barely count that high. So
Yeah, I was gonna say you are in good company, my friend. We're like-minded there, but I think you all are in for a treat because I've had the opportunity this year to sit down at a brewery with Jeremy and just briefly for an hour talk about Big Ten football and or the Minnesota Vikings. And I'm telling you right now, I'm putting you on a pedestal right now. Jeremy knows what he's talking about, or damn well he's going to convince you he knows what he's talking about by the end of this episode. And I'm ready to be, a sheep in your herd. You tell me where to pick because I suck after last week. And it bothers me because, boy, it would have been last week's pick.
Hey, before we review last week's, quit moping.
Sorry.
We have a question for Jeremy before we get going. What is it? And then we have another.
Before even the question, whoa, we got to get that intro going.
Okay,
well, I mean, you guys
comes.
you guys built me up so high and put me up on a pedestal. The first thing I got to say is notice that, like, when you sat down and talked to me, we were sitting at a brewery.
Yeah.
And the longer you talked to me and the more beer you had, the better my ideas sounded. So that's usually my MO is like, you sit down with people and you just got to wait for a little bit and then your ideas start sounding good.
Mm-hmm.
So, it might not come across great, but after a few, my ideas sound fantastic.
It sounds good.
It's better.
Well, I was a sucker for it. All right. Well, I was going to say, now that I know I fell into a trap, on that note, fasten your seatbelt because Dean Doll's got an intro for you.
Here we go. Here's the intro. There it is.
Whoa. How incredible. Yeah, I am surprised.
Can't beat it.
Yeah, cannot beat it. So good. But yeah, the only thing better than that intro is our guest pickers have been absolutely dominant all season long thus far. Jeremy, you do have high stakes to hold because yet again, after last week's pick, the guest pickers are still in the lead and have not given up this lead overall for the season. And your guest picker last week, Scott from the U of M, got your lead even a little bit bigger.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, you put up numbers like you did last week, and I'm feeling pretty confident.
Well, I'm upset because Ohio State won by 14, not 14 and a half. That was stupid. The University of Maryland definitely let me down big time. Not only did they not win by 13 and a half, but they just lost. So my faith is shaken in them. Penn State is whatever. I don't know what to do anymore. That's why for our regular listeners and viewers, I switched to whiskey because something needs to change here. And obviously it's the booze. It's not me.
Well, first of all, Josh, Scott did beat his sister Emma. Definitely.
Yes, he did. Yeah.
Beat her. So sorry, Emma. Scott's got you. And then the super dog upset that he predicted, he not only predicted Northwestern to win or for Maryland not to win and not to cover, he picked Northwestern to win.
Yeah, man, that guy, that's always impressive. When you can straight out call it like that, yeah, pretty solid. So there you go. Jeremy, you have a 2-pick to tie lead, 3-pick to give up the lead. And you know what? I have faith in you. I was close on the tracks, but one game didn't go my way and went the other way. And wham, bam, I give up 2 points to Dean and the guest. So to say I'm salty is an understatement right now. Being so close, just literally one pick behind the leader all season long, to now being 3 picks behind the leader and a pick behind my father. Needless to say, I'm a big loser right now, Jeremy.
Well, you know what the illustrious scholar Ricky Bobby always says: if you aren't first, you're last.
You ain't first, you're last. Exactly. So needless to say, what you're confirming is I've been last all season so far.
Right.
Yeah. And
but 7 games on the docket this week.
That's right.
You're only a few points behind.
We're making moves.
You can do it.
And Jeremy,
that's the spirit I need.
And Jeremy, there has only been in 3.5 seasons, we're on season 4, there has only been one undefeated pick, and that was Darla.
No. One and only.
Well, so what I'm more worried about, has there ever been someone who got them all wrong?
Alex got close.
I would say Alex and I both got close. I think there was multiple weeks, like last week, obviously 2 out of 5, 40%. When you look at the percentage, it's not bad.
Mm-hmm.
But seeing that 2 on the overall chart did not feel good. I do want to say Alex and I, there's been times where there's been like 6, 7, 8 games and we've put up a 1 or a 2. Then you start to get nervous. So
that's the bar I got to get over.
Yeah, no one. There you go, Jerry. No one has gone completely defeated. No one's ever done it.
All right, challenge accepted.
There's opportunity.
Sounds good.
So Jeremy, what is it you come from with? Greatness here. And you follow Scott, who did really well. What is it that makes you an expert guest picker?
You know what? I'm just here for the fun. But no,
Yeah.
I've been following NFL and college football for, my whole life, watching it. And again, the further I get into my whiskey, I feel like the more confidence I'm going to have behind my picks. So really what it's all about is confidence. And I feel like I can get there.
That's just a common theme, just across every guest picker we've had. Either confidence or going with that gut. Now, whether that gut's full of whiskey or not, that's up to you. That's up to each their own. I know where I'm going with mine. But yeah, that nice warm belly makes you want to make some leaps and bounds sometime.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. So I'm loving where we're at. And without further ado, sorry, there was a gnat in my face, and that's what I'm swatting at.
Let's go to Bloomington,
without further
Indiana.
ado, I think Bloomington. I don't actually want to go there. But let's talk about this. Our first game on the docket, Wisconsin, coming off a tough loss against Ohio State, but a loss nonetheless. Wisconsin at Indiana, favored to win by 9.5 points. Jeremy, spread your wisdom. Tell me what's up.
All right. So, as we saw last week, Wisconsin has the talent to stay in it with some big teams. Ohio State, very good team, only losing by 2 possessions. Not a bad showing.
I agree. I was surprised by that outing.
Yeah. I mean, seeing that you picked 14.5 for Ohio State to win by, that's it's tough. They've got they play that old school style of football where if you're going to beat them, you're not going to blow them out.
You think Ohio State plays that way?
No, Wisconsin does.
Wisconsin.
Oh, Wisconsin.
We're talking about Wisconsin, Indiana here. Come on.
Yeah, I know. I thought you were just talking about overall.
Fair enough.
But yeah, I agree.
But
I'm like, Ohio State's assholes. We'll get into that with that pick. But you're right. Wisconsin's, they're going to beat them, but they're not going to blow them out.
Yep. And yeah, so the other way around is if you beat Wisconsin, you're not going to blow them out. The other way is because of the style they play. If they beat you, they're not going to blow you out of the water just because they are so calm and consistent and just steady with their pace. Yeah. They have only had this season 4 double-digit wins against, and 3 of those are Purdue, Georgia Southern, and Buffalo.
Yep.
So the other one being Rutgers, who's a very good team, but Wisconsin took it to them. So with that, I'm really seeing that Wisconsin, I do think, come away with the win here, but I really don't see how they can beat an Indiana team by double digits, seeing that the spread is 9.5.
9.5.
Who just recently took Penn State tied to the fourth quarter.
Yeah, and speak to me. Take the words right out of my mouth. Keep going, Jeremy. You are saying what I'm thinking.
And the other thing is Indiana has a very, very good defense. They are ranked in the top 25 in almost all defensive categories, against the run, against the pass, everything like that. They've got a little bit of a improvement showing on their freshman quarterback, their redshirt freshman quarterback. He played really well against Penn State the other week. And, I mean, they're still going to run it by committee, but I do think that they're going to keep this one close, even though Wisconsin's going to come away with the win.
Yeah. Oh, man. You basically took what my simple brain was thinking. You put that into a much more intellectual sentence, hands down. Because my factors were Wisconsin hung around with a good team. Yup. Indiana hung out with a good team. Yup. I do see, this is where I'm sitting here, and I was going to say, I do see Wisconsin winning, but I also need to make up some points here, and Indiana may be a little bit of a showstopper at home. Now, do I actually think that's going to happen? No. I'm with you 100%, Jeremy. I was saying the same things you were saying, except for it didn't sound as cool and as smooth and as smart in my brain. So I'm glad you said it all. If anyone wants to know what I thought, just listen to what Jeremy said. Indiana is going to prevent the spread.
Okay. So I'm just going to start it now. Let's see right here.
Yep.
Oh, that's both of you. The algorithm does not agree with you. The big factor, and I agree with you. Jackson has for the quarterback for Indiana, very inconsistent. Their offense is not, ever since Penix left, they're not the same offense. They've toned it up on defense, but in the and Josh, what category I talk about that turnover? They're
Turnovers,
111th,
don't do it.
and they give the ball up too much. And you can't do that when you don't have a great offense. So the algorithm has Wisconsin winning by 14.5. So
Ooh, that is hot. And yeah, stick with it.
I'm
Hey,
very
you put four.
Go ahead, Josh.
You put four. You put 4 out of 5 correct, Dad. I'm not going to argue. I have no point of argument, even though I was close to tying it up with everyone. But hey, let that algorithm and let it bark.
But the algorithm also doesn't factor in, is Allen going to be playing or not? And without him on the offense, that's a huge hole. So that's a game time decision. But I'm going Wisconsin to win and to cover.
Sure. There you go. All right. I like where you're at. This game does intrigue me. Because I can definitely see Indiana winning outright. I definitely can. But
how many of those have you drank?
Game. What do you mean?
Well, you said you can see Indiana.
Are you making the prediction right now?
I'm saying I can see Indiana winning it outright, preventing the spread. But no, I'm not saying that. No.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I'm just saying Indiana's a good enough team right now that it's going to be a toss-up. I'm surprised that Wisconsin's favored by that much. Anyways,
if they play like they did against Penn State, I do think they have an opportunity. But yeah.
Now, here we go. The real game of the week here. We have Nebraska at Michigan State. Michigan State coming off of a whooping against the University of Minnesota. And just like Dad said last week, it's going to get late in the game, and then that game's going to get ugly, and it sure as heck did. And, so we have Nebraska at Michigan State, favored by 3.5. Dad, what are you going to say?
And Nebraska, this is going to blow you away after how they started and what we saw in the opener, Josh. Nebraska has a shot at the Big Ten West now. They've won 5 of their last 6, and if they win, they're bowl eligible.
There's no reason not to. They're 5-3.
Okay, Jeremy. Sorry.
Hey, I've been picking Nebraska.
I've got you're taking the words right off my notes. The only thing I have to add is Michigan State. It's their last home game of the season. Senior day.
Oh.
But
they don't even want to be there anymore, Jeremy. They're like, this season sucks.
They are absolutely in shambles, aren't they? They've got no flow on offense whatsoever. None. And I tell you what, Rule has those Nebraska boys finally buying into his system. Like you said, won 5 out of the last 6. Rule, I was a fan of him when he was in the NFL. Nebraska did a fantastic job of bringing him in so he could build his system at their school. And I think he's they've won 3 straight, won 5 of the last 6. They have a fantastic defense. And if you look at their schedule, their win-losses, if you throw out that, honestly, it was a real ugly loss to Minnesota at the beginning of the year.
Yep.
Agreed.
They're looking good.
Yeah.
I mean, they kind of the wheels came off the wagon in Colorado, but that's neither here nor there.
Hey, they were starstruck. They were starstruck out there.
the stars were, yeah, exactly. They saw all the stars there. That's true. And they still had Sims as their quarterback. And we all know he is garbage. Athlete, yes. Quarterback, garbage.
but they are buying into Rule's system. They are hopping behind that defense over there. I think they are, I was really shocked when I saw this spread. If you take away the home field advantage for Michigan State, this is basically a wash, a straight up game. I think Nebraska's going to take it to them.
I couldn't agree more. I've been picking Nebraska pretty consistently for, I'd say, the past 3 or so 4 weeks, which has been really beneficial because Nebraska has been hitting and covering or preventing the cover, which is marvelous. Alex, my brother, is so proud because he was episode 1 of this season, and we laughed at his face after week 1, 2, and 3 because they were just bad. Yep. And what is his prediction? Obviously, it was a little bit overzealous and very comedic, but he said, I think Nebraska is going to win the Big Ten. Now, after you heard what Dad has to say, they have a chance to be in a Big Ten championship game if they continue winning. I have no doubt, senior night or not, that school is in shambles. The players are not to blame. You just don't have any, I don't even know what it is, pride or something like, we got to play through this. No. The game gets late. I see it close. Michigan State may even have the lead going into half, but if that lead's not 20 points, I think Nebraska, that's the only chance of beating Nebraska. Nebraska's going to win. They are going to cover, even on the road, even on senior night. Go Big Red.
Before I go with mine, and I'll start with you, Jeremy, and then Josh. Okay, it's pretty easy to say the top 3 in the Big Ten. Ohio State, and not necessarily in this order, Ohio State, Michigan, and Penn State. Let's just take those 3, Correct. Put them on the side. Who's the next best team?
Wow.
That is difficult. I'm not going to put Minnesota up there. I'm sorry. Yeah. Are you trying to bait me to say freaking Nebraska right now?
No, I don't know.
No. Oh.
Well, the real question is, which Iowa team shows up to the game? Because Iowa, when they're playing well, they are good. But
they got shut out by Penn State earlier in the season.
It's a coin flip on whether or not they on whether or not their team actually shows up or not.
Yep.
Yeah, that's tough. So yeah, you never know what Iowa. Illinois is a wash. I would have said Maryland maybe, but Maryland's on the downslope right now. So I am sliding off that bandwagon slowly but surely because they're not winning. So why be on a bandwagon for a team that's not producing? I would say if you're going to look at teams straight up, the next best team in the Big Ten would be Iowa. That's my take.
I think the next best team is about as clear as the Big Ten West is right now.
Yes.
Yep. And about as clear as who's going to win the Big Ten championship, the West or the East.
Right. Yes, exactly.
Yep. That one is very, very clear. I can tell you right now, probably the East. It is just freaking ridiculous.
Oh, gosh.
Okay,
how about throwing the same question back at you? Yeah, great question, but throwing the question back at you. Who's your pick for number 4?
It all comes to me as to which quarterback is performing the best, which doesn't help to clear the water anymore because
correct.
I'm gonna give the Gophers a slight edge. But then I would probably have to lean towards Maryland. No. Let me back up. I'd lean towards Rutgers. Rutgers in second.
You think Rutgers is better than Maryland at this point in time?
Yes.
I cannot wait till that game. I will go back on that Maryland bandwagon. You best believe it. It is going to happen. That East Coast rivalry is not going to happen. You struck a nerve, back on the Maryland bandwagon. There's no way the Scarlet Knights are taking down the Tortoises.
You know that natural rivalry for the last game of the year Rutgers, and Maryland. Yeah, I mean, it's just got rivalry written all over it.
The one
I'm
everyone
fired up
tunes
about
into, the one everyone is just waiting to watch at the end of the year.
Yep.
They got one more right now. I am fired up about that game. Dad, not only did we have, side note, not only did we have a lovely wager between our fantasy football matchup, which, by the way, who won?
Yeah, I know. If Detroit wasn't so dominant, they would have kept throwing to St. Brown.
Possibly, maybe, but it didn't happen. So won that matchup, Jeremy. Now I want to put some skin in the game. We'll talk about this later. But Dad, I was gonna say we have a right here, right now. We are gonna have
and I gotta finish my pick. And
Maryland Rutgers.
I agree
Week 13.
with
It's gonna be wild. All right, sorry, Dad. Go ahead.
I agree with both of you on that pick. There we go. There's the fireworks. And Nebraska, after watching Michigan State, their defense, they've got athletes. You know, they had better athletes than Minnesota. They are just deflated. And then before last game, I mentioned one of your captain linebackers pulls the plug to go to the portal. I don't know how many players have gone to the portal this week. Nebraska will win, will cover. Their defense is in a good situation.
There we go. All right.
Yeah, did someone tell this team that it was the trade deadline for the NFL, not for college?
Yes.
Yeah. Close. They're all jumping ship. It's not a good day to be a Spartan football fan, I'll tell you that. But moving on, the number 4 team in my dad's eyes, Rutgers, is hosting Ohio State. Ohio State playing at Rutgers. Ohio State favored 18.5 points. Jeremy, 18.5, big spread for you.
And Jeremy, number 1 in the first college football playoff poll. Ohio State leapfrogged over Michigan and Georgia based upon the committee.
Well, I do think Ohio State is talented. I do think they're the number 2 team in the Big Ten. Hot take.
Yep. I agree with you.
And in this matchup, obviously they are way more talented than Rutgers. They've got the talent there. But Marvin Harrison Jr. is a monster.
Oh, yeah.
Unstoppable. He's so fun to watch. But Rutgers is number 2 in the country on defense with yards allowed.
Get them.
With passing yards allowed. Right behind the number 1 team, Michigan, in my book.
Yep.
Rutgers is undefeated at home this year. And they are coming off that big win against Indiana. They also are coming off a bye, so they had 2 weeks to prep for this big game. While I do think they got a lot going for them in this game. While I don't think they have the talent to beat Ohio State in this matchup, I do think they have the talent and the preparation to cover the 18.5 point spread. So I'm picking Rutgers to cover. Number 4 team in the conference, apparently.
Number 4 team in the conference, clearly. I'm not sitting comfortably right now. Because obviously Ohio State did not cover a 14.5 point spread. You make a lot of good points, Jeremy, that Rutgers is going to be good. And I think at this point in time, Rutgers is looking at this like, no, we can possibly beat this team. I have no doubt that locker room is like, yeah, we might actually beat them. I think we can beat them, which is scary because if things start to go their way, they might as well do it.
Hey, at the beginning of the episode, what do we say? You just have to have confidence, right? Confidence.
I have zero confidence, but they're not going to let me down 2 weeks in a row. I hate to say it, but Ohio State, they're going to ball out. Sorry, Rutgers. You're not the number 4 team in the Big Ten. Ohio State, ball out, win by 21. Let's do this.
Well, Josh, just let you know, Rutgers is bowl eligible. Maryland is not bowl eligible yet.
Yeah, not yet. Not yet.
So, Jeremy, I agree with you, and I feel bad that Josh is going to lose another game here. McCord, when he has time, he can find Harrison. But I'm just shocked. I'm totally shocked. The Ohio State O-line just giving and crumbling for McCord. And that's just not the case against the lesser teams. The algorithm has Rutgers winning this one by a half a point. I don't know if I can do that.
Yeah. That algorithm is wild.
Woo!
Wild.
How much whiskey did that algorithm have?
That algorithm. Take all the booze we've had tonight and pour it in the algorithm, and then it's like, hey, I know it's crazy. It's crazy, guys. But hear me out.
So
Rutgers over Ohio State.
It's
happening. It's gonna do it. We're gonna put all our money in.
So I agree, and especially, I mean, Rutgers is a good team, and they had the closest game with Michigan so far, and Michigan's just trouncing everybody. And it's in New Jersey. I don't think Rutgers can win, but I do not think Ohio State will cover.
There you go. There's 1 point. Need that. Right now, I'm either just digging my own grave or I'm climbing out of it. I'm either going up or down. Doesn't matter. Moving on. Penn State, you let me down. Maryland also let me down. And that's the matchup we have here today. Penn State at Maryland. Penn State is favored by 10.5 points. Mr. Wizard Jeremy, I know you got a lot to say. Spill your knowledge with us.
You know, Dean, just remember you owe me that money you bribed me with at the beginning of the episode because I'm just following right in line with your Rutgers over Maryland pick here. But I really think that Penn State, after the wake-up call of a close win last week, I think they're gonna come. They're gonna come ready for. They're gonna come ready. They're gonna come prepared, and I think they're gonna take it to Maryland and come out and just blow them out of the water here.
Yeah. Man, that's tough.
Here's your Maryland team, Josh. Come on. Let's hear the Maryland spiel.
Number 4 team in the conference, bud.
Yeah, number 4 team in the conference. I say, after this episode, I don't know who else wants to get on this bandwagon, not Maryland or the Rutgers. Pick one. How fun would it be? Like, let's just get hyped about Maryland Rutgers game at the end of the season, okay?
Oh my god.
Let's be just as excited about the Michigan-Ohio State matchup, which the whole country is. Easy, bandwagoners. Let's get hyped for the Terps and the Scarlet Knights, okay, of the East Coast. There's no reason. It's going to be a great matchup. I'm just putting that out there right now. If you're listening, if you're following, if you're doing anything, I'm going to put it out on my story. You tell me right now which side of that bandwagon you are on. Because right now, my pick, I'm sticking with Maryland, all right? They let me down last week. I'm sorry. It's tough. Penn State, you also let me down big time. I'm going to go Maryland, preventing the spread, not winning outright. I apologize. But Maryland, again, love seeing Mary on the picks. Let's do it. Man, I'm fired up about the Terps.
Oh, grasshopper. I think the light Penn State schedule is showing itself, which is interesting again when James Franklin shot across the bow towards Ohio State, but it went right over the top of Michigan with a light schedule. Penn State is up there in so many categories. takeaways. Their offense is number 30, defense 2 overall. Penn State, Maryland's in a funk, and Maryland, they make a lot of penalties. I'm rambling here. Penn State's going to win. They're going to cover. The algorithm has
there you go.
Has PSU by 12.
Okay. That's a close one. That's a closer one. We'll see what happens.
Saying like I said. Chance.
So you're telling me there's a chance. All right, moving on. Before this game, it is very exciting. The previous 2 weeks ago, when Minnesota played Iowa, that set the record for the lowest over-under recorded. Until this week, Iowa, yet again, being a part of history. Iowa at Northwestern. Iowa is favored by 6 points. But the over-under, this has nothing to do with our picks, but this is just history happening on the podcast. The over-under is 29 and a half
points my gosh.
Between two teams, Jeremy.
Someone's got to tell these guys that they it's not golf scoring, that they gotta pick it up here. They got to be careful, otherwise the Texas Rangers might outscore them in their playoff games here.
Yes,
but, that is very, very true. The Rangers may outscore Northwestern on this one. You never know.
But no, so going along those lines, the only thing that Northwestern had going for them in this game was that they were at home, and it's not even a true home game. They're playing in Wrigley Field.
Yes.
So it's, they got Northwestern has nothing going for them. Iowa, I don't care if you flip that coin and which side of the heads, which Iowa team decides to show up. I think they're still winning. I think they're still covering. They're coming off that pretty tough loss to the Gophers. They're going to have a chip on their shoulder. They need to win in order to keep control of the Big Ten West. And they had that bye week, that all-important bye week to prepare. So I think Iowa's got it.
I think this is a no-brainer. I think this is absolutely that they're only a 6-point favorite because they lost to Minnesota. And we're not going to dig deep into 2 weeks ago about that call. But on the record, it does say Minnesota did beat Iowa. That's all that matters. But without a doubt, Iowa is going to go into Wrigley Field. They're going to play their hard-nosed offense, run it for a little bit, defense, stop it. Iowa will win by 6+. Hands down, that is a very confident pick. I'm with you.
Wow, I really feel bad stealing this one from you guys. We have the potent Northwestern offense, 119 versus the less potent Iowa offense, 130. And the big difference is Northwestern doesn't turn the ball over. So it's going to be a lot of field goals, which hedges in Northwestern's favor. And who would ever thought that Northwestern has a shot to become bowl eligible in 2 weeks, the way they started their season? The algorithm has Iowa winning by 2. That is less than 6. So I am going Northwestern.
All right. Real quick around the table. The over-under is 29.5. Jeremy, are they going to go over or under 29.5?
Oh, we gotta go. We gotta go over. It's gonna be like a 21-14 game, 17-20, something like that. But we gotta go over.
Yeah. You know what? I'm just gonna go out on a limb on this one, and just to mix it up, because I think Dean's gonna take the over as well. This is for imaginary points and just bragging rights that I bet under on the lowest under, and I want to win that. So I'm going to take the under. You heard it here first. Dad, quick, over, under.
I'm going under. I think it's going to be like a 15-10 game.
Yeah, 15-10. That would do it. Just nothing but field goals and one touchdown.
I mean,
all right, enough of that.
Hill is bad.
Low scoring.
He is a bad quarterback.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with you.
Okay,
No way.
we covered that.
Not calling you a liar. All right. Enough of that game. We're going to have some scoring in this game. Illinois coming all the way up from Champaign to Minneapolis, St. Paul. Illinois at the Golden Gophers. Minnesota is favored by 3 points. This one is tough, but Jeremy, wait, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'll listen to you and you tell me.
This one's a toss-up. This is the one game that I didn't make a pick on before we started recording because I got no idea. I mean, Illinois took Wisconsin all the way to the end of the game, but they are crazy inconsistent, and the only thing you need to beat Minnesota is a good run defense, and they do not have that. It's average at best. Minnesota, they can run the ball. That's the one thing they got going for them.
Sure as heck can.
They've got two wins in a row. They've got the momentum. It's a home game, and they need the win to become bowl eligible. So it's important.
You gotta take this one because
I'm just saying that.
But you're sitting there going,
I still don't know. I've gotta go with Minnesota on this one. I think Minnesota is gonna win the game. It's about as straight up a coin flip as you can get, but I think Minnesota is gonna continue their win streak. I think they're gonna become bowl eligible after this game. It's that's all I gotta say about that.
That's all you got to say. That's all you need to say about that. I'm just kind of looking at weeks past. Yeah, Minnesota has either covered or prevented the cover of the spread for 2 weeks in a row. Make it 3 weeks. Minnesota will win. They will cover. Hey, Minnesota fans are excited to see Gopher football winning. We got 5 wins. Awesome. Couple of hiccup losses. Sure. I think the crowd's going to be awesome. It's going to be warmer weather than what it has been over Halloween weekend. Let's keep it going. Roll that boat. I'm back on the Minnesota train. Let's go Gophers. Dad, I know you're with me.
Yeah, I'm going to follow. You both said it extremely well. And, you look at the year and it's crazy. Sean Tyler, RB number 4, can't hang on to the ball. He fumbles on, was it the second play of the game? So he was put in fumble detention. And J.J. Newbin, brother of defensive Newbin, RB5, runs for a humble 204. They run the ball.
Yeah.
And
that was saucy. That was saucy that he rushed for 200 yards. I loved it.
And just get in behind the big boys up front. Our offensive line just paved the road, man.
Simple.
Pride of Southview, Quinn Carroll walked down the hallway. He could not have been a Gopher without giving me a high five. No, definitely Gophers.
Probably.
Definitely Gophers are going to win this one. Kalik Manis, arguably is one of the best quarterbacks in the Big Ten West. Oh, there's no good quarterback in the Big Ten West.
I mean, if best and the worst, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, best and the worst, you're still best at something.
Yep. So I'm with you guys.
That is such a
I'm gonna go with. Let's see what we have. We have balloons.
Oh baby, there they go. There they be. All about it. Well, goodness gracious. If you're still listening, we made it to the last pick, folks. I know we got a lot to say. I told you guys at the beginning of this episode, Jeremy is going to spread his knowledge on all of us. And by golly, I've been listening to most of it except for 2 picks right now because I got to make something up. But here we go. I don't know how I feel about this. Purdue coming off kind of a embarrassing little bit of a beatdown against Nebraska last week at Michigan. Michigan is favored by 32.5 points. Jeremy, biggest spread we got this week. Lay it on me. What's happening?
I just Purdue is in a let's just say it nicely. They're in a rebuilding year. They're hurting.
They're not doing well right now.
This game is going to be ugly. Michigan
Hmm.
is one of the best college defenses I've ever seen. It
Let's just say
is
college football teams in
yeah,
general.
fair enough. Fair enough. Absolutely. I mean, they've given up double digits once, and that was 10 points.
Hmm.
And they just the only thing that I could see going Purdue's way is Michigan is overlooking this game. This is has all the tracings of a trap game because Michigan's looking forward to that big Ohio State game.
Hmm.
But I think they are just have so much talent on that team that they could put their third stringers in and still win this game. I picked Michigan. Michigan's gonna cover that massive spread, biggest one. It's gonna be a blowout and it's gonna be ugly.
Yeah,
I think
baby.
I think Purdue's gonna be lucky to not get shut out this week.
That I knew my decision ever since I went to the Minnesota Michigan game and seeing Michigan play in person. They make boys out of men. Let's
Yeah.
just say that. Offensively, you look if you're playing Michigan and you're on defense and it looks like they have an angle to tackle, it's gone.
Yep.
Defense, offensively, if you're playing against Michigan, you're like, ooh, we have some space. Gone. Blink of an eye. Like they fly to the ball. They're fast. They're athletic. They are a legit number one, number two team in the country. Plain and
Tra
simple.
Travesty that they didn't get picked as number one in the
Yeah.
college playoff rankings.
Yes.
You know that's okay. You know what? Let it be. They don't care. Anyone who's in that, whatever. If you're getting picked, more power to you. If you're 1 and 2 and you're, crying about who's number one, whatever, forget about it. They don't care. They know they're good. They know that they're fighting to get back in that playoff and they want to get back in the national championship game. That being said, I couldn't agree more. I think their third stringers are going to continue to put up points in the third quarter, and their fourth stringers are going to continue to put up points in the fourth quarter. Michigan is going to put an ass whooping on Purdue, and that's just, you know what? I'm going to be a big Blue fan for that game. Let's just say that.
This game is, I agree with the two of you completely because this game is a chance for the players to stand behind their coach. There's a lot of distractions. He spoke out for the first time. They are the most experienced returning team in the country and they play like it. This is a chance for them to go out and just say, hey, give us the ball, coach, and we're going to support you.
Yeah.
Let us for this afternoon talk on the field. The algorithm has Michigan winning by 40.
Yeah. I thought you were going to say
Very
this is an
possible.
opportunity for Michigan kid to give the world the bird. But maybe that's the whiskey talking in my head right now. Yeah, Dad, Michigan's gonna give the world the bird right now and just say, screw it. I'm gonna freaking put up 50 points this weekend.
And one thing I do want to point out is this is a rematch of the Big Ten championship game last year.
Yes, I was thinking the same thing.
Look at how much of look how crazy the difference is, the different trajectories these teams took in just one offseason.
Here, whoa,
exactly.
Just deep dive for the old Boilermakers.
It's crazy how like this rematch has none of the hype that last year did.
And yet,
absolutely not.
They made it a prime time game.
Did they actually?
Yeah, it's the 7 o'clock game.
It's the 7 o'clock showcase.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, yeah, I'm sure me, Ashley, and Lisa this weekend, the in-laws are coming up. I think we're going to be watching this one.
Yeah, you're going to the game, Josh.
Yeah, so we'll talk about that later.
Okay.
I don't think we're going to the game. If it was up to me, I would snag 3 friends and be like, all right, see ya. Man, that's not a bad idea, Dad. Again, man, this Jameson whiskey gets in my brain, and I go, let's have a fun. Jeremy, what are you doing on Saturday?
I told you, I told you, the longer and longer you sit with me with a drink in your hand, the better and better my ideas sound.
Oh yeah, and I was gonna say those. If you're still listening right now, you're a couple beers in, you go, dang, that Jeremy, he knows what he's talking about.
Jeremy,
this week has probably been. What was that, Dad?
No, go ahead.
I'm just saying this week, what do we only have 2 weeks that we all, just kidding, 3. We all picked Minnesota. 3, that's not bad.
No.
That means we have 4 games that can go either or, and I'm going to need them to go my way to get back in this race. Maybe 3 out of those 4. We'll see what happens. But there's going to be, Dad, you better mind your P's and Q's, because I always check which ones you highlight, and I go, hey, not that I'm counting against you guys and counting my own score, but the spread was this, the score was this, and you didn't mark it. You marked it for you, not me. So
I get a little preemptive.
I know you get excited and you got your life and your weekend and all that fun stuff. But I go back on Sunday, Jeremy, and I'll look back and I'll go, hey, pal, weird how this pick benefits you and not me. Depending on the outcome of the game.
I do want to state for the record that I'm a little nervous that me and Josh only have 2 different picks this week. But
you should be.
I'm gonna start with that one, but also it could mean that he's turning his luck around and he's starting to listen to the wise a little bit. Who knows? So we'll see.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I had a feeling I'd probably go with a lot of the same picks you had. I knew I had to pick a couple of different ones. Hands down, I got to make some ground up, and I don't need to make it all up this week, but I'm just going to throw it out there. If I do go for 7 for 7.
So Jeremy, it sounds like the Gopher tickets are open on Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying no.
See, I'm gonna head up on 52. I'm gonna swing by. I'm gonna be like, Jeremy, let's go.
Yeah. Actually, I'm gonna be over in Otana, so you just gotta swing over there.
I'll drive over. Fuck it. I'm going west.
35. Here we come.
I gotta get over there first. I gotta get 14. Then I'll go 35. I'll get you over there. Whatever you're doing, Otana. But guys, this is the utmost important.
What are you doing in Owatonna?
Oh, I've got family over there. We're having a cousins get together. We're bringing my daughter over, and they're hanging out with all the cousins and stuff.
Oh, so
cool.
I'll drop you off in a couple of hours.
There you go. I'll be back in just a little bit.
What time you guys got on your watches? Yeah, okay. I got the same time on mine. We'll be back in 4.5 hours.
Add 8 to that, and then I might be back around then.
Might be back. If not, I'll text you the address. Just drop the kiddos back off at the address. I'll see them then.
And Brooklyn's very mature.
That is it.
She can hang around by herself for a while.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
she's fine.
Damn near can drive already.
She'll get home eventually, right?
Yes.
Yeah. That is one of my go-to dad jokes in the clinic. Is if there's a patient that's just a kid that's clearly like 8 or 9 years old, maybe even younger. They'll come out and I'll call their name and they stand up and I go, oh, nice. Did you drive your parents here today with you? And they look at me all, and the parents are sold on it every single time. That's one of my best dad jokes. Is just a young
Well
kid.
played.
Oh, did you drive yourself to the appointment today? I knew you'd be proud, Dad. I appreciate
Love
that.
It's like running to Cub.
Yeah. Gosh, I think I've had multiple sayings this week at work that I know before I say it. I go, dang it. I heard it enough from my dad. This is an opportunity. I've used that constantly at work. And yeah, dude, Jeremy, I know
man.
you've been around Dean enough. You've heard that.
Yep.
But it's so true though.
Yep.
Oh man, what we have here, we have an opportunity to do the right or the wrong, the good, the bad, but an opportunity nonetheless. And
okay, Josh, you'll appreciate this. I was chatting with Scott and his mom and dad, and all of a sudden Jen comes back and she's like, oh my gosh, Scott just brought a Mr. Doll joke out. Yeah, this is from Mr. Doll. What's a fish without an eye?
Fish.
I got one more. Okay, sorry, you brought up fish because I told this to a doctor I worked with last Thursday, and he started it. He started this. He goes, what do you call a deer? What do you call a deer with no idea?
Oh,
that.
Yes.
Yeah, no idea. And I went, wow, he just played an animal eye joke. And I was talking to my coworker and I go, this man's not going to expect. Because then after he said that joke, he went and saw a patient. And I'm like, he's not going to expect that I have another animal without an eye joke for him.
Just in the chamber, ready to go.
Yeah. Here we go. I got one. He thought he had me, and I dropped the fish without an eye, and he goes, I can't even say you're blank and blank. Needless to say, he used some words that I hadn't heard in a long time, and that's when I knew, because he's always got the sharp wits with him. But I knew I shut him on that joke because he had no comeback. He had nothing. And I was like, bam, gotcha. All you can resort to is name calling. I got you. Match. Yeah, I knew as soon as he walked away. Like,
Dean, you taught him well. Good job.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought so. I'm nervous to go back working with him tomorrow because he's probably gonna be like, I got all my jokes in line.
You were sitting here talking college football. He was scrolling Google looking for the best dad jokes.
Exactly. Gotta watch out for that, man. Well, needless to say, I'm nervous about going to work tomorrow. Could be the whiskey or the beers, but I'll overcome that.
Jeremy, thank you so much for being guest picker. This has been super fun. I expected nothing less, and it exceeded my expectations. So thank you.
It
was a pleasure. Thank you so much for the invite.
Yeah, exactly. See, you just start rolling with it by the end of it. I couldn't agree more. Jeremy, I got to spend more time with you, whether it's at Gopher games or it doesn't matter, because I enjoy you talking my ear off, and you got a supporter in me. I'll tell you that right now.
Heck yeah, appreciate you guys.
Hey, Josh.
All right. Well, last but not least, our dorky thing that we've been doing since season 1. We put our hands over the mic, over the little cameras, because that's our huddle. And we go, sports dolls on 3. 1, 2, 3. Sports dolls!
Sports dolls!
Boom! And just...